Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for taking the time out to spend with me this evening. I hope that I can inspire you with the journey I've had over the past few years. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is not just to tell you my story, because everybody in life has a story to tell, and each one is very, very special. I'm just hoping that my story will inspire you to take stock of where you are right now in your journey through life and see if where you are is where you wish to be, which is happy and motivated, successful, enjoying every day, reaching your full potential every day, and bringing joy to yourself and those people around you, especially the ones you love most. My reason for sharing this is either to help you in your own journey, or you may know someone special to you who could do with some help and understanding. I hope that this will give you an understanding of how our thinking affects our outcome. And we can either do great things when we think great things, or we can literally disable ourselves by our thinking. You are what you think. If you think you're great, then you are great. If you think you're not, then you're not. If you think you can, you will. And if you think you can't, well, then you're right. We can literally enable ourselves or disable ourselves by our thinking. When I started my heart art journey, I had no idea that the outcome I would receive and reach would be beyond my expectations. In fact, I didn't know what to expect. I was just drawn to do it. And I was really drawn to the meditation side of it. The fact that there was art involved was a real bonus because I love painting anyway. But remember, you do not have to be able to paint in order to do heart art. In fact, it's probably better if you never held a paintbrush before. Because heart art is really about the process of what it can bring out for you. It is not about the product. So just a little bit about myself before I go straight into it. I'm a wife and mother and grandmother to two beautiful young granddaughters, Amy and Keelan. And I'm very happily married to Damon for the past 36 years. I worked when the children were smaller for Weight Watchers. I lectured with them for 5 years. And at that point then, I went on and became a fitness instructor. I studied at Limerick University. So I was always very fit and very much into taking care of my body. And that's really what I wanted to do, was to really take care of myself. I think when you feel good, it's really important. And from 1990 then on, I studied complementary therapy, such as reflexology. I went on then to do Reiki, kinesiology, which really is still a wonderful tool that I use today. I use all of them today. I studied neurolinguistic programming with Richard Bandler and Paul McKenna and Michael Breen over in the UK. And then I also studied in the UK to become a brain gym consultant and instructor. And then life coaching came into the fore as well. So all of those helped me to start my own business in 1997. So what I would like to cover tonight is what is heart art, the power of it, and just a portion of my journey, just a small portion. Okay, and then me in action during painting, just a few slides of me doing a few bits and pieces, and the workshop paintings that I have come away with from the workshops I attended. I'll just explain a little bit about them and what they mean. And a few paintings I did at home in between my workshops, and how heart art helped me to make changes, and it helped me to restore this harmonious balance within my day. So it's really, really important that we get a balance every day. Sometimes we're so busy as mothers and wives, and we do so much, and sometimes we don't take enough time for ourselves just to see where are we at, because really we are at the helm when you are in the house and taking care of the family. And what I found was I wasn't taking care of myself. I was putting everybody else first, which is not a good thing to do. So, going back to pain, have you ever had pain in your life? We all have at some stage. It can be physical, it could be emotional pain, it can be mental pain. All of that adds up. And when you look at where does pain come from, it can come from relationships you are in with your partner. We could have pain in relationships and families with our parents, grandparents, siblings. Pain is everywhere, really. We can have relationships, painful relationships with our children. And also within business, business partners and people we work with. So pain really, it can be anywhere. So just ask yourself this question: are you struggling with your own relationship within yourself? Because that's the first point of a relationship, is you need to have a good relationship with yourself before you can have a good relationship with anybody else. And I think that was the bit that was missing in my life. I was thinking about everybody else and not thinking about myself. And it's not to be selfish, but I think we need to fulfill ourselves first, and therefore we can be better for our own selves and also for those people around us. So it's really very important that we take care of ourselves. Maybe, ask yourself, are you feeling good enough? Or sometimes you're not feeling good enough. Lacking self-esteem, your self-esteem really low, or self-image is quite low. All of this is really painful to ourselves. And again, as I said, we can disable ourselves by our thinking. So it's really important, because we can also allow ourselves to be disabled by other people's opinions and views. And that's a very big one in Irish society too, that we take too much stock of what other people think. And we need to be strong within ourselves and have our own convictions and our own morals. And it doesn't matter what somebody else thinks, it's what you know to be true is the most important thing for you. Do you often struggle to express your emotions? And do you realize how damaging this can be to your health, both your physical health and your spiritual health? So would you be interested if I could show you a private and constructive and a hugely therapeutic way you can release that build-up of tension and feel incredible after it? And for me, this is what Heart Art has done for me. It has given me the vehicle to express myself so that a healing can take place within my body. And I'm so grateful for it. So if you could separate yourself from the pain, whether it be physical or whatever type of pain that you're in, whether it's a sadness that you're holding in your body for whatever reason, an unhappiness, your lack of motivation, separate yourself from not being good enough or not feeling good enough, separate yourself from your low self-esteem, and separate ourselves from all negativity. How would that make you feel? That would be so powerful, really, really powerful. So just to give you a bit of background on my journey, when my challenge started, I call it my university of life, because that's where I learned a lot about myself back in 2000, when I found myself in a situation of being laid up for about 4 months in bed, and my family were taking care of me. And that's when I really realized it was more important for me to take care of me. But I had let my physical body go to a stage where I was no longer able to take care of myself. I had had a problem with my back, and I found walking a challenge, I found standing a challenge, and also sitting. The only relief I could get was lying down in bed. So that's where I spent my University of Life challenge back in 2000. And it was very, very painful, but I felt I used the time wisely, because I did educate myself on what do I need to look at, what do I need to see, what do I need to do in order to get myself out of this situation. Eventually, I did learn a lot about myself. I actually learned just how to be. And for me, that was a big thing, because I was always doing, busy, busy, busy. And I found it very hard just to be still and just take stock. So this really gave me that opportunity. I called it my time out, because I had so much time on my hands and all I could do was just learn about myself. We are human beings, not human doings. So we do really need to be in touch. And when you're in touch with yourself, you really learn tremendous things. That's so important. And I hope that's what you get from this message tonight. So I was lucky. I actually did have surgery in 2000, in June 2000. That was 6 months after. And it got me back on my feet. And the only thing I found was, even though the mechanics of my back was fine and was fixed, I was just so drained of energy I couldn't function. And in 2002 I was introduced to Juice Plus, which really gave me back my health and also allowed me to be the wife and the mother and all that I needed to be again. So I'm very, very grateful to the person who gave me that information, and I'm also very grateful to have found Juice Plus because it is a wonderful, wonderful whole food, organic food, 26 fruit, vegetables and berries. Really, really delighted that I found that. It is not a quick fix, but it is a long-term solution. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm also very grateful that I was also introduced in December 2006. Is where I started my heart art journey. And it's the combination of those two are really profound markers in my recovery, my physical, emotional, mental and spiritual well-being. I call it my magic combination. The two together is a wonderful combination. It gave me my brain-body harmony. It gave me back my life. And I'd like to share a bit of that with you. So do not adjust your sets. It is out of focus. So that's just me at work. And when I look at some of the paintings that I've done, I can really connect with how I was feeling at that time, what each painting meant to me. Sorry about the quality, but I'll get better in time on quality. So what heart art did, it really helped me to delve deep into my subconscious mind. And that was so wonderful because I found it difficult to go within. As I said, I found it difficult to be still and to stop and just take stock. But this is what heart art helped me to go right down into my deep subconscious mind. It also helped me to eliminate the pain I was holding in my emotional and mental body, which in turn affects and affected my physical body at that time. And when we are emotionally and mentally upset about something, I mean, even if you think about that now, if you think of somebody or something that upsets you, you can actually feel that. Your physical body starts to change because you can still feel the hurt within yourself. And if that's happening, that hurt needs to heal, because when it doesn't heal, you suppress it. And when you suppress it, eventually it does get into the tissues in your body and it brings about an illness. And that's what we want to stay clear of. What you want is you want a harmonious balance, because that's what heart art gave me. This balance which was deep within the core of my being. Now, I really sincerely mean that. It helped me to go that deep, and it helped me to heal at a very, very deep level. Again, bringing about this brain-body harmony I talk about. This is another painting, again out of focus. Do not adjust your sets. And this was a very special one to me. I still remember the feeling it gave me as I painted. It was just a wonderful feeling. It was a time in my life that was so special, and it meant it touched a string in my body, and it really lifted me forward and up and out of a very dark place. Again, sorry about the quality. So what is heart art? It's painting from the subconscious. You're just painting and you're just allowing the paint to mix on the page, and you do not know what you're going to be presented with. For me, it's been a wonderful journey. It really helps to get you in touch with your inner thoughts, and that allows you to express what you're really, really feeling. And that's what I was saying to you about your thoughts. Your thoughts can either enable you or disable you. And when you can get in touch with what you're really feeling, As I said, when you think of something that is hurtful, you feel that in your body. But equally, when you think of something that's so amazing and happy, you also feel that in your body, but it's a different feeling. It's a wonderful, uplifting feeling. So for me, heart art is really clearing out the clutter. It helps to clear out what's in our body that doesn't need to be there anymore. It helps to bring forth that feeling so you can look at how that feeling is affecting your life. And when you get a picture and a sense of what that is for you, then you can do something about it. It's a great way of bringing that awareness to the surface, because awareness really is your key to freedom. When you're aware of something, then you know you're informed. And when it brings that to the surface, you can actually look at it and face what it is you need to face. It's up and out and on the paper. It's no longer being held in your body with you not having a clue of where is this feeling coming from. And it doesn't matter where it's coming from. What matters is that you can touch it, you can feel it, you can see it. When you do that, you can deal with it. It's something that you can actually put an action in place to do something about. So heart art really is about the process of the painting. It is not about what you produce. It's not about the product. It's about that getting in touch, really deep down in touch of what it is you need to bring out of your body at cellular level, because you know that can be either physical, emotional or mental. It doesn't matter what it is, just once you can release it, that's the most important thing. Here's another painting that I was doing. Again, this was a time when I was physically not able to move very well, but I decided when I did my meditation, these were the colours that I could see, rainbow colours or chakra colours. And I just painted all the activities I would like to do if I could get out there and do them, such as cycling. And I remember painting balloons on that, and there was trains and planes and cars and football and all sorts of things that I would love have had the ability physically to do, but just at that time I was physically unable to do it. So the power of heart art, that power really brings that feeling, and that feeling allows you to bring that expression to the surface, as I said, so that you can face what it is you need to face. So it's out there, it's in your face. And the expression can help you then to understand the feeling, and it's the understanding of that feeling that helps the healing process to start. And that helps with our self-expression. Our self-expression is linked to self-acceptance. Now, self-acceptance is a very big thing. It's absolutely huge. And when we accept ourselves just exactly where we're at, just exactly as we are, that's a great thing to do, because it's a starting point. So self-acceptance is really huge. You know where you're starting from, and when you know where you're starting from, then it's just a matter of where do you go from there. If you don't like what you see, feel or know, that's also a very good thing, because now you know what it is you don't like to see, you don't like to feel, or you don't really want to know. You hope it'll just be brushed under the carpet and go away, but that doesn't happen. You really need to look at issues that we may not like to look at or feel, but the only way to deal with them is to take them out and look at them. When you do that, then you can make a change. So you can take an action then in order for that to happen. And then that gives you that freedom just to live in the moment. That brings that wonderful freedom, that outcome that we're looking for. So it's a bit like the traffic light system. The accepting yourself is the starting point. You're at a standstill. Then when you accept what you don't like, see, feel or know, then you can make an action to change that. And that's when you start moving. And then finally, that gives you that freedom in the moment, the outcome. Here's another painting that I can relate to very much, and it was very uplifting. And when you get that feeling of being uplifted, you're really connected to spirit and inspiration. And that's where the inspiration comes from within. But you need to be in there in order to connect with it so that you can be inspired. So it's like a wheel, it just goes around in motion when you know which way you want that wheel to move. So the meditation in the heart of our heart art is sitting down, being still, and going deep within yourself, getting in touch with yourself, right deep down within yourself. And that's where you get your painting from your subconscious. That's what comes out on the page. You may not, you actually don't know what's going to come. You do your meditation, you sit, you be still, you get so in touch with yourself, then you just go choose your colors and paint what comes up. It's wonderful, it really is. It helps you to reveal what you have maybe filed away. You hadn't even known that you had filed away deep within your subconscious. But it brings that to the surface. It helps you to release the rubbish, but in a very gentle and effective way. And it's a beautiful expression using all those wonderful colors and being in touch with it. I use my hands quite a bit. That painting you see there and the heart painting, that's just dipping my hands in the paint and rubbing it on, and just whatever comes up, comes up. It helps to restore your internal tranquility. So it really does, when it clears out that rubbish, you just feel so much more fulfilled inside. Clearing out the void and filling that void with wonderful feelings of peace and serenity and tranquility. It's a wonderful way of healing. And as I said, it helps connect our brain and body and bring that harmony which we need to function on a daily basis. It also helps to move you forward in life. So if you feel stuck or not being able to move forward, if you're challenged in any way within your life, whether it be work, rest, play, whatever, heart art can give you that insight of what you need to look at and help you to move forward. I remember this painting really well. I called it the Big Bang because it was just like an explosion inside my body when I had this painted. I just felt it gave me such a wonderful feeling, and it really cleared out a lot of what I was holding in my body. And when you're holding stuff in your body, it takes energy to hold that there. And even though it's negative and we don't realize what we're doing, you can have that energy locked into your body in such a way that it really freezes you so that you are unable to move. So this painting was a really good one for me. It really helped me to release and let go and heal. So this is a series of one of the workshops I did in December 2008. And as I was painting it, I just didn't know what it was or what was happening, and I just felt, it just felt like a gut feeling. I mean, it looks a bit like guts really when you look at it. But I just went with the flow of it, and what came out, but I could just feel, that this was churning inside of me and just needed to come to the surface. So as I painted it, just the different colors, just chose the colors randomly, and this feeling of expression, when we express ourselves, the feeling that you just feel so much lighter. And as it began to come out, I just went around and around with the brush at that time. And my insides were churning. I remember it because that's why I decided I'd call it gut feeling. Just I felt something was coming, and I didn't know what that something was. And on my next painting, I just remember this so clearly because this was kind of a picture of what the pain felt like that I was experiencing in my body at the time. And it was like as if somebody was driving this steel obstacle right into the core of my body. And it was very, very disabling. I found it very hard to paint that day. I was standing was a problem, sitting was a problem. I just couldn't get comfortable. And when I painted this, I went and I lay down for a little while and just stayed with it for the time that it was there. But I remember even now when I look at it, it just brings back that memory and that feeling. And I'm so grateful now that that feeling is no longer there. It is out of my body. It's no longer there because I have allowed it to come up and out. So I'm so grateful for this method of healing. My next painting I called Wisdom and Balance, because there's a little owl down the end. He was the last thing to appear. When I was doing this, I just felt there was these mini explosions, little tornadoes with an explosion at the top, and all these little beings popping their heads out. And just as I saw them, I coloured them in and painted them in. But also, just drawing towards the end of this painting, I remember feeling really quite ill. I felt very nauseous, very sick, and really unwell. But just as I was coming to the end, as I said, I saw this little owl down the end. And when I painted him in, it was like, oh, I've had enough. Now this, I'm not saying this to put you off. It's a bit like when you've got a thorn in your thumb or in the base of the ball of your foot. It hurts, but when you take it out, it still hurts, but at least that thorn is taken away and your body then can heal itself. And that's, for me, this is what this painting was about. It just made me feel so unwell. I remember crawling into bed. It was probably 6 o'clock in the evening when I finished this, and I just went straight to bed and stayed there till the next morning. And I'd really had a bad night, but as I said, it's better out than in. And the next morning, when I started painting, I just felt a wonderful release within my body. I remember painting this, and I suppose red is a bit like the anger. But I didn't feel angry at the time. I remember just painting the lines. I used a brush for most of this and colouring it in, and I saw this little tree in the centre of that circle just there. So you can see the cursor there. Just the circle started off first, and then I started taking the green colour and bringing it and just drawing it around and around. And the thing about this type of painting is you get so lost in the painting that you just forget about what's happening in your body, and you feel so much more energized as the time goes on. So I called this growing and knowing. Sorry, now just losing you. So I call this growing and knowing because I felt that as the painting of the previous day had brought up a lot of feelings within my body, I just felt it had been released, and that when I just keep looking inside myself, I'll just keep growing and I'll know exactly what to do each time I continue to paint. And my next painting, this is all in one workshop over a 4-day period. When I started painting this, I felt it was like a cathedral, and the cathedral was my cathedral. And then I saw this eye just looking out at me from the center, and I painted that out. And then I saw another one, and I painted that out, and then another and another. And with these lines here, I was just taking a palette knife and just scraping off the wet paint. But I felt as if, I needed to keep looking within inside myself to see what do I need to keep looking inside myself to see in order for me to grow and know and have that wisdom that I'd been shown that I can have when I do this type of work. And then the next painting was very, very tranquil. I called it Keeping Tranquility because it gave me a sense of this peaceful place, this lovely, just a lake-like with a couple of trees and just very tranquil, very serene. And that's how I felt at the end of the workshop. I felt I'd gone through a turmoil, and yet I had ended up in this peaceful place, and it was a great feeling and a great place to be and just ponder. And finally, I had great fun doing this. I just again got lost in the detail of the colours. Again, I used a brush with this one and just brought the colours for a walk, and then used a tiny little brush, and I just painted in all this little detail and just getting lost in the flow. And I call this the life flow, being sure that you know that what you want, where you want to be, where you're going to go. And when I just looked at the overall conclusion of the workshop, starting off with the gut feeling, what was happening within my gut, what was coming up for me, that awful pain that I experienced, getting right down into the depths of my core, and allowing that then to be released with that, the explosions of that, what I call the wisdom and balance. The little owl gave me that wisdom, and I needed to have that balance in my life. when I continue to keep searching within myself, I have that sense of growing and knowing that things are going to be okay, but I need to keep looking within myself in order to see and check out with myself, where do I need to be, what do I need to be doing, and how am I going to get there? And that will bring me this wonderful tranquility, this nice tranquil place that I can sit and ponder and just be, and then life can flow for me. So that's what I got from this workshop, and it was a great experience, as all the workshops I did were such wonderful experiences, and it has brought me to this place of being able to lose myself in painting. Just a very quick one. This was one evening I felt really in such as bad form would be one thing, but also I was in a lot of pain as well. So when I just lashed this out, I just called it survival, because I felt that's where I was, just surviving instead of living. And it came very fast. As you can see, it's quite a torrent, sweeping motion, and just used my hands to lash that out. I'm sorry if you're losing picture at the minute. And then out of that came what I called illumination. I just felt so relaxed and calm as this picture just presented itself. Again, using my hands, with the exception of the tree that was done with a brush. These colours were just so tranquil and also illuminating. It gave me a great sense of being just still, nice and still, after the survival picture a few moments ago. And then finally I finished off that evening with just what I called reflection. When I think of the turmoil I had felt on the first painting, the survival, because that's exactly how I felt. At the end of the evening, I felt very calm and relaxed, and I just reflected on the 3 paintings, and I just felt so much better. And that's what heart art is all about for me. Just a wonderful way of feeling good within myself. So if I could have a choice between pain and painting, I know what I choose, because when you've got a busy mind that's really connected to your emotions, which are going around and spinning like a wheel, and that's what it was for me anyway. So meditation is very similar to like placing a stick in the spokes of the wheel. So eventually it can stop the spinning and you can connect right into the inner depths of your being, connect right to yourself. When you do that, it allows you to break free from the anger, from the fear, and hence, depression, anything that you may be experiencing on this line. It is a great way of healing. We all need a sense of direction, and all energy needs to keep moving, and that's important, because when your energy gets stuck, then you become blocked, and that stops us in our tracks, as it did for me. So do you know what your direction is? Do you know where you're going? You have to know what your outcome is first, otherwise how will you know when you get there? So direction is really important. I think that inner direction is the utmost important. And heart art brings about that connection to the inner self. And it's about the process of the painting. It is not about what you produce. It's not about the end result of the painting. It's about how you feel when you have put paint on paper and got that wonderful feeling of release and expression. As I say, heart art allows your inner direction to come right out there. And this is one of my students, Colette, and I have a lot to thank Colette for, because she's been instrumental in helping me of late. And Colette has just said that heart art has given me the feeling of freedom. It has allowed me to express myself from the inside. I did not know what was in there, and it needed to come out, and it has shown me what I need to look at. Heart art has moved me and enabled me to be creative. And I just thank Colette for her comment on that, because it really means a lot to me too, that I have been able to facilitate Colette in her journey, in her heart art journey. So thank you to Colette for that one. These are just a couple, I'll just flick through them, that I did at home. Again, I just would have an evening where I'd feel, I just need to paint, or if I was in bad humour, my husband would say, Marian, go paint. So I call this magic moonlight. Again, just dipping my hands in paint and splashing it on with my hands, and then finishing off with a brush, just brushing in the trees with a brush. But basically, all of these would be done with my hands. Sit and savor. These are little places that I would like to just be somewhere nice and tranquil, that I can, when I finished connecting to myself and taking the paints out and just playing with the paint, just like a child would play with the colours. That's all this is to me. I call this a place to ponder, because it'd be a nice place to sit and relax and meditate. So when you're painting, you are meditating because you're connecting to that stillness, and that is coming from the inside out. I call this my walkway to heaven. Lovely just to walk up there and just be in a place that's so tranquil. And I get great serenity from nature. So I suppose that's where my nature pictures come in. This is my sunflower. When I look at this, it brightens my day, and my sun can shine even when it's lashing rain outside. I just look at my sunflower and it brings me joy. This wise old man gave me some wisdom. Again, one night I just needed to paint, took the paint out, splashed it on with my hand, and when I stood back, there was this profile. The profile was already there. All I need to do was outline it, and that's what I saw. And when I look at him, it's like as if he's got the shoulders so wide and so huge and powerful. And anytime you need some wisdom, sit and look at that. And, you know, sometimes I get insights which are so powerful. I'm amazed at what I get from these paintings. Double-sided, another one. This is painted with a brush. And this one again was just done with a brush, and again it's just about movement and enjoying the colours and just enjoying seeing what comes out. So finally, coming to the end, when your eyes sees your hands do the work of your heart, your circle of life is complete. So heart art, it really does nourish your spirit. It brings inspiration directly, just right into your being. It's just a knowing. And Juice Plus nourishes your body. That's scientifically proven. You can look it up on my website, marianegantransformationhealth. So for me, both of them is a magic combination for anyone who wants to reach their full potential in their physical body, emotional, mental, or spiritual. And Heart Art Solution, connecting with the colours of the paint. The colours in themselves is very inspiring. Applying the paint with your hands or a brush, but applying it directly and expressing your feeling of the moment is liberating. That brings about itself your inner direction, and then you can take an action which will have a result. Okay. Sorry, just having a little bit of a hiccup here. So both Heart Art and Juice Plus were a catalyst in my success story. I'm forever grateful to have been introduced to them. I'm so grateful. It really made such a difference. And my gratitude also goes to Marie Perret, who was my mentor on my Heart Art journey. And Marie kindly just gave me a few quotes, and she was saying, anyone who works with creativity is also connecting to stillness. And when you do connect to stillness, you're getting directly connected to your inner self. The real treasures come from our mind when we are still. As you keep working with painting, you can go past problems you're experiencing, and it can bring you into an expansion and a flow. And that I really know that to be true because I have experienced that. And painting spontaneously allows that flow to happen. So I just thank you so much, Marie, for facilitating me in my journey to wellness. It is so wonderful to feel well, to be well. So what I would like to do is just to say to you, those of you that are listening, that I am going to hold a workshop on the 29th of January, starting at 9:30, finishing at about 6. Cost is €150. It'll be here in my studio here in Clane in County Kildare. For any of you that are interested, just give me a bell, and you might even think about it for vouchers for Christmas presents for loved ones. So I really want to thank anybody who's on the line who has joined me for this journey. I feel that, and I hope that you've got something from this sharing. It's been a great pleasure for me to really give this message. It's not easy because it's very personal, but at the same time, I was helped so much by Marie, and I really want to be a facilitator and help anybody else who needs my help. So do send me an email if there's something here that you'd like to discuss with me, or you'd just like to give me some feedback on what you've heard tonight. I really would appreciate that. So thank you all very, very much for joining. I'm very honoured that I've been able to present this to you tonight, and I wish you a very good evening and a very good night. Thank you so much. Good night, everybody. Have a good evening.